Hello and welcome to another video blog post from cmsquickstart.com. Today we're taking a little departure from our usual parade of modules and showing off some of the unknown modules out there that are very awesome. So do check out cmsquickstart.com/blog and check out some of our previous modules on the module filter, vertical tabs, arrange fields, the views custom field module. A lot of little treasures that maybe you haven't come across yet, but once you find them, you end up finding a lot of uses for them. But today we're going to talk about a little checklist I made up. What do I have? 6, 7, 8, 9 items. It's kind of a pre-launch, post-launch, trans-launch, right around launch time. You want to be thinking about some of this, and there are a lot of lists very similar to this, and some of them are more specific about SEO. I have one line simply about SEO, but so there are many things, but I think you'll find some things in here that maybe you won't find elsewhere. So you can add this to your list and pick and choose what you want to do here. So this is my list, and oh heavens, who are we? We are cmsquickstart.com, and there's the blog link right there. I have a lot of video blogs. If this is your first one you've seen from us at CMS Quickstart, then go to the site and check out the others and leave comments. We have a couple conversations going on there, and I need to keep up on those. I don't think to check, and then all of a sudden I have like 3 or 4 comments. So, but do use the contact button there and let us know if these are helpful and what you want to see in the future. We have responded to those by saying, hey, that's a cool module. We'll do a video on that for you. So people have enjoyed that. And who am I? I am DougVan.com. You can go to my site, DougVan.com, and leave me a contact form as well. I use the web form module. I should probably do a video on that if I haven't already. But I'm available for Drupal training for you, your organization, or anybody you like. So, but back over here to my list. Number 1, delete the XMLRPC.php and the changelog.txt. What are those? Well, they're core Drupal files that come every time you upload, every time you update Drupal. And of course, when you initially download Drupal for the first time, whether it's Acquia Drupal, a Fusion theme, Open Atrium, Open Scholar, Drupal Commons, whatever it is, these 2 files exist. Now, from left to right, the XMLRPC is simply a way for other sites to interact and call functions and retrieve data from your site only when you want them to. It's not a huge security breach, or else it wouldn't be there at all. But you know what? Most people don't use that file at all, so why have it there? It's just simply, it's a way to get into an empty room in your site. And maybe someday someone will find some malicious thing to do with it. Hopefully not. But if you're not using it, delete it, please. Changelog.txt. Every time you download Drupal or update Drupal, the changelog.txt increases with your version number and adds a couple lines about what's happened. So right now you're Drupal 6.19, hopefully. If you're up to date, you're 6.19. But if you go to your site right now, go to whatever your Drupal site is, maybe it's live, maybe it's dev, I don't know. But go to that site, and after your .com or your .net or your .org or .co.uk, whatever you have, after that, type in the changelog, all uppercase, .txt, and you will actually see there very clearly what version of Drupal that site's running. If you know some Drupal sites of your friends, or maybe some famous Drupal sites, go to that site, .com/changelog.txt. If you get a 404 error, they've deleted that, and that's good, because if I go to your site, and if a malicious hacker goes to your site and they see that you're running 6.7, well, that's pretty old. That's very old. And there are a number of things that could happen to a 6.7 site that 6.19 has been security patched against. So if you're running an old site, you don't want to broadcast to the world that your site's that old. I actually saw a site that I did that on, and I got 5.7 or something. It was like almost 3 years old. That was very bad. So delete those files if you're not using them. And if Drupal 6.20 comes out tomorrow or next week, and you install the updates, you have to delete these files again, xmlrpc.php and changelog.txt, because every time you update, you get them back. So delete them. If your site is not a social networking site, DougVan.com is not a social networking site. I used to have my user block up there all the time, but I finally deleted that and got rid of it. So take your user block off of the enabled blocks there on your page. And I went ahead and disabled registration as well. So that's very simple to do. Go to your admin blocks page and do that. And the disable registration is available over on your. Let's just do it. Let's just do it. mysite.com. User management. User settings. Only site administrators can create new user accounts. Okay, so there you go. The registration option is no longer available. Now, if you get rid of the, over here is the blocks. Site building blocks. And down here in the disabled section is the user login. So here it is. So since that's no longer available, I simply go to dougvan.com/user. That's where I log in. So that's very cool, and that's common knowledge. User, whateveryoursite.com/user. So there you go. Back to my list. Disable the Devel modules. There's a couple modules inside the Devel suite. They're really functional and handy when you're developing, but they're kind of resource hoggy when you're not. Turn them off when you're done. Disable the Views UI. That is separate from the Views module. If you disable Views, then of course you lose all your views. But if all you disable is Views UI, you lose the user interface with the filters, the fields, the arguments and relationships, and the sorts, and all that kind of stuff, and all the displays, all the display settings. So your settings stick around, but the interface that changes them goes away. So, and I've also tagged on here all unused modules. Hey, if you're gonna get creative and start deleting a lot of or disabling a lot of modules, back up your site's database and file structure. Set it off to the side, and then start turning off all the things you think you're not using, and then as an admin, go through your site, up one side, down the other, left and right, top and bottom, make sure all your stuff works. Then go to another browser, and as an anonymous user, look around everywhere, make sure that anonymous user still has everything they're expecting. Nothing stinks more than turning off a module that you forgot you were using, or some, what have you. Aggregating CSS and JS files. This is a performance trick that really should be done. These are things you typically don't do when you're working on your site, but you can do after the fact. Site configuration, performance, and we'll see how optimized I am here. Okay, so caching mode is on. These are self-explanatory. There's descriptions. So the caching mode is on normal. I'm compressing my pages. I have my blocks cached, and I have my CSS cached and my JavaScript. I'm sorry, compressed. So we're converting, condensing all my CSS and my JS files into one file each, which is much happier for the users downloading our site from each page request. So that's very cool. And there's more explanation on those pages as to what I'm talking about there. Disable PHP filter. If you're not using PHP filter, it shouldn't be on, period. But if you turned it on and decided not to use it, you can turn it off. Now be careful. If you have custom blocks or node bodies or anything else running around that you have custom PHP scripts that get executed, then of course turning off this filter would disallow that filter from existing, and your PHP will just be shown to the screen in raw text format, which may actually give away some things, so you don't want to do that. So, but if you're not using PHP, that should not be on, and go ahead and check that. If you're using it, keep it on. Remove any regions from your .info file that you're not using. I use the 0-point theme, and I just like it. It's nice and clean. But check out my blocks page. Look at all these blocks, or these regions. So here's my my left sidebar, of course. That's very common to use. My right sidebar I'm not using. There's a region called above. There's a region called banner. There's a header and user 1 through 4. The top content I'm using on one page. The middle content I'm not. Bottom content I'm not. User 5 through 8 I'm not using. The below is something I'm not using. So I mean, there's a lot of regions here, and some would argue that it's not a huge cost, but I would say this: if I'm never using those regions ever, then why render them? So over in my Sites All Themes 0-point folder, there is a 0-point.info, and in there is a list of arrays. I can just simply delete all the lines that say right sidebar above, user 1 through 8, middle content, bottom content, and below, and above. All these regions I'm not using. Don't even let Drupal even think about them. So that would be cool. And what else is on my list? Check the SEO checklist to ensure that you are in the best condition possible. Yes, simply said, if you haven't used that module yet, you should. And once your site is kind of launched and on the production server, go check that out. Make sure everything's cool. Make sure that your site verification is set up, your HCard is set up if that's applicable, that your node words and your meta tags are set up, and Google Analytics, etc. There's lots of stuff in there. And there are some things, the SEO checklist module, some SEO modules that are not included in the SEO checklist. But you need to check them out as well. There's a video actually at drupaldojo.com, drupaldojo.com. Tom McCracken of Level 10 did a video on some more recent SEO modules that are very nice and should be used. Thanks to Valachi, the fine folks at volacci.com, valachi.com, for supplying the SEO checklist. And go to the drupaldojo.com to see Tom McCracken's video on some modules his shop out of Dallas, Level 10 Designs. Level 10 Interaction, .com. And turn off reporting errors to the screen. Now, this is one I've only recently become aware of, and I'll show you where this is. Over on site configuration, error reporting, there are things in here I've always known about, and like 403, I should really be redirecting access denied to some other page, and but I haven't. And then search for, so like if you go to a page you don't have access to, it should offer you the, I don't know what, but search 404 is what I use. So if you come to, if you fat finger an address on my site or something, or I've moved a page for some silly reason, my Drupal site will do a search across the site on whatever it was you're looking for. So that as opposed to just a page not found, it offers you some alternatives. Now here's a section that I've never really played with much till recently. By default, Drupal will write errors to the log and to the screen. So if there's an array issue or expected argument that was missing or any kind of PHP error or other kinds of errors, they will be thrown to the screen even for your anonymous users, etc. On some occasions that can happen. So I changed that to write errors to the log only. Now where's the log? Go to cmsquickstart.com/blog and check out my video from 6 or 8 weeks ago when I go into great detail about the error reporting and the logging and event logging that occurs in Drupal. It's pretty cool. So you can see all your logs there. And back to our list, we see we are at the end. So this, again, this is not the most exhaustive list, and this is kind of a, pre-launch and just post-launch. There's some things I haven't gone into here. There are a variety of lists out there, but this is certainly some things you want to be thinking about, and maybe some things you haven't thought about before. So you should construct your own checklists for your own organizational needs, and they'll be different from site to site. They will. But I am Doug Van. Thanks for checking us out, and do check out cmsquickstart.com and check out the 20 plus Drupal themes. And when CMS Quickstart says Drupal themes, they mean fully pre-configured, full of views and slideshows and extra special content types and quick tabs, most viewed content, and most recent content. A lot of cool things. Swap out the Latin text, put in your client's text, and launch the site very quickly. It really is a turnkey solution to your next Drupal project. We hope you've enjoyed the show, folks. Thank you oh so very much. Bye.